I do genuinely feel like we've got an advantage with the foundation year in terms of the fact that we've been able to explore so many other aspects of study. I feel like that gives us a perspective that I am very, very glad to have.
Hi, I'm Fatima.
And I'm Cordelia.
How did you hear about the foundation year, and what made you think that it was right for you?
I first heard about it from my mum. Eventually I thought, we'll give it a go, but neither of us, I don't think, was ever really expecting it to go anywhere because it seemed like such an amazing opportunity.
I heard about it from a teacher at school. I always had kind of a dream of going to Oxbridge, but I knew that I didn't have the grades to make a competitive application, and my teacher knew that. So when she found out about the foundation year at Cambridge, she advertised that to me, and I just thought it was a good opportunity for me to take.
So can you describe the application process a bit, and how did you find each part of it?
Well, it's kind of a bit of a blur. I think a lot of it was so stressful. I sort of moved through it that way, trying not to think about it too much so I wouldn't get too stressed. There was obviously a lot of documentation we had to get, and there were also these paragraphs we had to write about, why we thought we would suit the foundation year and things like that. The competition feels so high, so the pressure was pretty intense. The interviews, I don't even remember them. I feel like I blacked out. But they ended up going okay, clearly, because we're here.
I was really nervous and stressed out in the beginning because, of course, it was a new course. Nobody in my sixth form knew anything about it. I had to be really independent. However, I found that the course and the resources that they provide online were really helpful. I was applying with another friend as well in my year, so I think we kind of tried to support each other along the process too.
So what qualifications were each of you taking before applying to the foundation year?
In terms of A-levels, I took French, English literature and politics. Initially, I really wanted to do law, and I was like, those are the subjects that are kind of going to help me, and I enjoyed doing them. But I was very much a humanities, and still am a humanities girl, so I thought the foundation year would be good because it was humanities focused.
Yeah, I wasn't actually taking any qualifications while I applied because I was on a sort of gap year situation. I was trying to save up as much money as I could because I was pretty anxious about the whole financial element of going to university. So I was working full-time as a waitress for about 8 months, and then after that part-time at a specialty coffee shop, which was really nice. Before that, when I was doing my A-levels at sixth form, I had taken sociology, French and history.
So what kinds of things do you study in the foundation year, and are you enjoying it?
So the course is really interdisciplinary. There are a wide range of papers that we take each term. In Michaelmas, I took a paper on COVID and the pandemic, and education, the philosophy of education, and poetry and generational
Yes,
Windrush.
that one. We both took that.
Yeah.
I took history of the English language, and then I took the French advanced and advanced plus courses, which I'm still doing now.
And then this time I'm taking one on religions in South Asia, King's College Chapel, and history and the law. The papers are really broad, and you kind of have skills that you learn from each, and you can apply in different ways. Yeah, they're really fun, and I think they're taught really well.
Yeah, I mean, the papers are quite intimidating at times because they do cover really broad topics where there's just so much thought that you could have about it, which is difficult because it's all just really interesting. It is really nice to sort of be, I guess, a massive nerd just with other people, and even with lecturers and supervisors. I really enjoyed that because that wasn't really something I was used to having in terms of the teaching that I'd received throughout my life before this point. But there were times where it was a bit dry. But overall, I've really enjoyed them.
And we have really close relationships with our supervisors as well, so that's really nice. So whenever we need any support, we're finding anything difficult, they're always open to have a conversation and chat with us.
Even with papers that I didn't necessarily expect myself to enjoy, like the one about climate change, environmental data. and I wasn't expecting to enjoy that one because I'm very much not the sort of mind that is driven towards understanding maths and science elements. But my supervisor Corinne was really, really helpful and encouraging. Made me feel a bit more confident about it for sure.
Yeah, like during the COVID paper, I'd never taken maths before, and so I found that intimidating. But I think Corinne was really supportive, and like I found the questions that we covered throughout the course intriguing.
How much kind of are the tuition fees?
Yeah, there are none. There are no tuition
Yeah,
fees.
which is
It's
nice.
free. Yeah.
Obviously, there are other costs involved, though,
Yeah,
aren't there?
the tuition fees have been waived, and we do have a certain amount of money for living expenses.
Yeah.
I do, like, because of my ADHD, I do have the occasional sort of impulse spend, but I tend not to spend a lot of money, especially not on sort of day-to-day shopping and things like that, and I prefer to cycle rather than taking a bus or a taxi. There is still a concern about cost in some ways, in terms of things like books can be quite expensive.
But everyone, like the bursary, like the scholarship that we get is like really supportive in that, and so it's definitely like an ease not having to worry about costs and like living because
It's a new feeling as well.
Yeah, I know, it's like
not
liberating.
the sort of thing that we're used to. Don't necessarily always know how to handle it, but it has been really helpful to be able to feel more sort of comfortable and settled within that.
Yeah.
Thinking about the fact that I don't have to worry as much as a lot of other students and a lot of other people, you know, who were from circumstances like ours, and the fact that I don't have to, and that allows me to concentrate a lot more on the academic side of things. You know, it really feels like a privilege. We're very lucky.
Yeah.
So, how have you found making friends? What kind of social activities do you do? And was it hard to settle in?
In terms of the course, we all bonded like really quickly because we had an induction week at Girton where we all spent together. We got like to know each other really closely, and that was like good and kind of made me feel more confident in beginning the year and having established friends already.
Yeah, for sure. I did have a bit of trouble sort of fitting in with other people in Cambridge who weren't a part of the foundation year, so that was definitely something to get used to. And we can still have conversations even if we're not necessarily as close as I would be with some other people. Yeah, within the foundation year, it feels like we've got our own tribe. We're all really supportive and understanding of each other,
like
which is really nice. Yeah.
Everyone at college, I feel like, is really friendly, and so I kind of had some fear about being able to settle in and not fitting in, but I think those were soon kind of like waived once I got to know everyone, and it's easy to get close to everyone and get to know and make friends.
I feel like I'm not quite at that level yet. I grew up in Swindon, and Cambridge is everything that Swindon isn't. It does take a bit of getting used to, but I'm doing okay. And I know I've got plenty of support and people that I care about and who care about me, so that's really nice.
So are you two part of any clubs or societies, or you do any sports or anything like that?
So I've joined like the college lacrosse team, which is like really chill. It's low commitment and it's fun to do on the weekends. Everyone from different years does it. So fourth years, third years, second years, so I've got to know them.
No judgment, please. I am part of the K-pop society, which is honestly so much fun. About twice a week, roughly. Sometimes on Thursdays and Saturdays, we do sort of choreography. It's really good exercise. I've met some people I get on really well with as well. I've kept it to one society so far, but I have heard there's like a crochet society. So I'll have to see whether or not I could fit that into my weekly schedule if possible.
What do you think of Keys? Do you think it's a good college to study the foundation year in?
Yeah, it's alright so far.
Yeah, everyone's been really nice. We're like best friends with the porters, aren't we?
Yeah,
like
but
John.
the porters here, best porters.
Yeah, they are honestly the best in town.
I make it as a point of principle.
Yeah.
I say hello to every porter when I come in.
Yeah, they're just like the loveliest people and make you feel so welcome and at home, and
yeah,
always there for you.
It's
nice. Yeah.
Final question: what are you planning to do after your foundation year?
Hopefully, gonna study history. If not history, then history and modern languages. But overall, I'm aiming for history just because that's something I am genuinely really passionate about, and I love the fact that I'd be able to sort of find my own niche within that and be able to direct my own study with the help of a supervisor.
I think one thing that I'm very grateful for on the foundation year is that I initially came with the intention of doing law, and then across like the wide variety of papers that we do, and because we also do a lot of philosophy, I've been introduced to like this whole new subject that I've never ever done in secondary school, and so now I'm like in love with philosophy, and now I want to do philosophy, and I'm like so grateful for like the fact that I've been able to experience it.
Yeah, I think that's a good call as well.
Yeah.
I do genuinely feel like we've got an advantage with the foundation year in terms of the fact that we've been able to explore so many other aspects of study. I feel like that gives us a perspective that I am very, very glad to have.
We've been able to like speak to the students studying those subjects that we're interested in, and like the supervisors, or attend any lectures. So that's been like really valuable and insightful, in helping us to make a decision. And also the fact that we don't have to make the decision really early on is helpful too. And we can, spread our wings.
Yeah, and feel supported in those decisions as well. I feel like we're as informed as we can be about what the courses are going to be like.
Yeah.
Best of luck to you both. And thank you so much for coming in to talk to me today.
You're very welcome. It's been lovely.
Yeah.
Yay! I think that's fine.
Look at us memeing.
I know, you guys are like walking memes.
My meme references are so old though. Lots of vines.
I watch Vine compilations to get myself like to sleep. Hurricane Katrina.
More like
Hurricane Tortilla.
Tortilla.